Investigators, residents trying to make sense of 7-year-old girl death. A very pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This incident happened on Saturday, and I couldn't get a hold of my emotions to be able to report. But since I got my wits together, I've decided to give you my commentary on this case. But first, let's recap the Jamaica Gleaner and see what happened on that fateful morning. Let's go. There was a mixture of grief, confusion, and anger on the faces of residents of 15 Amara Road in St. Andrew as they tried to make sense of the death of a 7-year-old girl who allegedly died from a stab wound early this morning. Huddled in small groups, grief-stricken neighbors tried to make sense of news that Bianca Spence received a wound to the heart and later died at the Bustamante Hospital for Children this morning. Her 31-year-old mother, Amon Francis, who said she had been unable to console herself since receiving the news, told the Gleaner team that in her haste to see her daughter, she was nearly hit by a truck. Francis, a mother of 5, who viewed her daughter's body at the hospital, believes she was a victim of foul play, although an autopsy is to be done to conclude the cause of her death. Francis pleaded several times for divine help to cope with the tragedy as she spoke to our news team. An adult relative told our news team that Bianca awakened her 9-year-old cousin about 5 a.m. to turn on the light so she could go to the bathroom, but instead she went to the kitchen and returned with a knife. He said, "Heaven," Bianca's nickname. "What you doing with the knife?" the relative related. The adult relative explained that the cousin called for Bianca's grandaunt and the bloodied child was found on the floor. The relative said the 9-year-old cousin has been traumatized by the incident and her grandaunt, who was also Bianca's caregiver, has been receiving medical attention. The relative said there was nothing unusual about Bianca's behavior the night before. They had chicken and chips for supper, and Bianca fed her baby cousin around the table. There were no signs that could have prepared them for the tragedy to come, the relative explained. "Me cry enough, but it not really lick me like how it feel lick me. But me cry a whole heap." Francis said as she reflected on her daughter's short life, she would have celebrated her 8th birthday on November 19th. Bianca, whose father lives overseas, was left in the care of her grandaunt, who lives a short distance away from her mother, an arrangement that had been placed since Bianca was 3 years old. Neighbors said little Bianca was brought up well. She attended church and they said she was not in need of anything. It shook the wall away. We never expected it, never see it coming. The grandaunt take good, very good care of Bianca. And when she go to school, she have everything. She no short for nothing. She have her tablet, and right now a laptop them a plan for buy her to go to school, a neighbor remarked. The police, who were contacted by the Gleaner for an update, says that they're piecing the clues together. A 7-year-old girl took her own life, allegedly. Am I thinking foul play? Well, all the pieces are not in yet. It is kind of difficult for one to take their own life, especially a young child, by stabbing themselves in the heart, knowing exactly where to place the knife. It is extremely difficult for me to comprehend that. Am I to think like the mother thinks, thinking foul play? Well, let's wait until the rest of the story unfolds. To kill oneself by stabbing, it is not a rare situation. But for a 7-year-old little girl to concoct a plan like that, it is highly, highly unlikely. But as the story unfolds, sometimes we look at a family, and I'm just speculating here, and we can say everything is okay with the children. The children is with grandma, or the child is with grandpa, or the child is with a cousin or a relative. And the child has everything that one could really want as a child in terms of material things. But sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, deep down in the heart of that child or in the mind of that child is either missing a father or missing a mother or missing them both. Because as you see, it was a grand aunt who was actually raising her. It takes two to make a family. I was lucky to grow up with a mother and a father. And when my father would spank me for something that I did wrong, it was my mom who consoled me. And if my mom explained something that I did wrong, it was my father who further explained what my mom meant. So it takes two in a family. The fact that she was born on the 19th of November, it closed because my mother was born on November 19th. She was a beautiful lady, Pearline Leonora Sinclair. We call her Pearly B for short. So ladies and gentlemen, when we hear of this plight of our children, we need to dig deeper to see what we could have done to prevent something like this. Even though a child has everything material, it doesn't mean that child really and truly had love. I'm not speculating to say she was not loved by her mom or her father or her family, but sometimes there's something bothering that child. Deep down in the mind of that child, something is not right. And sometimes, because they are unable to think rationally, they end up taking their own life. This case has happened before. And if we don't do something about it, it's very sad to say, it will happen again. Amon Francis, my condolences to you, Mama. I am very, very disturbed by this, and I'm very sorry for the loss of your beautiful little girl, Bianca. They called her heaven. To be called heaven, it tells you of the type of a child that little Bianca was. A beautiful angel. Something that came from out of heaven. So, ladies and gentlemen, like we say, let's go back to when it takes a village to raise a child. If there's something happening in the home and we're not aware of it, then another neighbor should be able to say, hey, something is wrong with that little boy or that little girl. Something ain't right. Let's take a closer look. Maybe if we had some closer looks, some of the cases of suicide like we've heard of would never happen. Let me hear your comment in the comment section below, please. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and of course, I'm waiting for your comment on this one. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, now is the time to do so. I am so sad. My heart is broken.